Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the channel, Candlemot Stories. Hope you're all doing well out there. I am sitting here, still have my quarantine hair going, so we're just gonna crop that out. So, a little about the project in general. I've been doing this on the side, making a lot of little RPG systems and things like that to entertain my friends and family. They had a lot of unique tastes where they wanted to play an SCP themed campaign, which was a lot of fun and really hard to write for, because if you know anything about SCP, a lot of that stuff just outright kills you instantly. So they got to do some Ghostbuster, X-Files type stuff with that, where they went through and had a little extra something that let them fight SCPs without just, dying, that thing. So, on the side, I was always building a RPG system that I wanted to run myself, that I thought was really fun, and let me put my talents into building systems that were fun, mechanics that are fun, where you go, oh, I just roll and see if I hit, right? No, it's not that simple. You've got to roll to see if you hit, you do this, oh, you got this bonus here, that's cool, that's fun. Or, oh, it works this way, or, oh, you've actually got to RP this. You've got to convince us that you should get a bonus to this roll so that you can convince the audience. And maybe the dice weren't in your favor, but you yourself, as a role player, remember there's two parts to role-playing game, actually get to shine and show off a little bit of your talent in that regard. So, I've been working on this project for about 10 years, off and on. 5 years ago, I decided that there were a lot of things that sounded okay, but weren't exactly what I wanted. I was trying to make it too mainstream. I was trying to make it appeal to too many people, and I said, you know what, screw it. We're not doing any of that. We're just going to do exactly what I want out of a game, and we'll see if there's other people out there that like it. And I think a lot of people actually will. What's crazy to me is, after 10 years of working on this, I decided, okay, 2020 is the year. I'm gonna put this out there. I was nervous. I was hesitant at first, of course, like you are with any big project you want to put out to the world. But I decided this year we're gonna do all of it. We're gonna put it out there. We're gonna finish it up. We're going to really motivate myself by making people look at me and say, hey, it's not just me doing this for myself, it's these people are expecting it done, so I better get on it and get it finished. But this went from a side project that I had a lot of cool components in to people putting in input and getting this rolling so quickly. All of a sudden, like 2020, it's all been coming together for Mirava, for the game. Okay, had to shut the screen door. There's a massive storm coming, which might be why I'm sweating so much. Anyways, moving on to the system of Mirava. So I would be remiss if I didn't immediately go over the stamina system. Stamina is both a stun bar, which a lot of games have stun mechanics. Even D&D has a stun mechanic that doesn't really get used, and you don't really want to kill everyone you meet. Sometimes you just need to crack a guy over the head and knock him out. I mean, there's sleep spells that'll let you do that, but, sometimes as a martial character you just want to knock someone out. You don't want to kill them. And I think a lot of RPGs bring it in as an afterthought, where they think, oh, yeah, stamina. Yeah, put stamina in there too, right? So it's done. And then I've seen it done a variety of ways. The old Cortex system, not the new Cortex system. I don't even think they basically have stats anymore. But the old Cortex system, which I used a lot for the Firefly RPG, lots of fun there, they had a pretty good system, although it can be a little confusing at times on where exactly you're going to pass out, but still a pretty decent system. The way stamina works in Mirava is that every action takes stamina. So you want to swing your sword and try and hit somebody, stamina. There's a few free actions like drawing a potion or even pulling something out of your backpack or picking up a stone that aren't going to cost a stamina. Those will be a free action. But for the most part, stamina is constantly being used, and at the same time it's constantly being regenerated just a little bit, not as much as you're spending in a turn. So, as you might imagine, stamina moves around a lot. So, we're talking about up and down every turn. That might be a little bit hard to track compared to, say, your HP and your attack bonus and even your influence, which are mainly going to stay the same throughout the game. So, we have something that I was worried might come off as a gimmick initially, but really it's essential to run this game properly, and that is a stamina slider. Yes, there's a slider in your character sheet. It will slide up and down as your stamina goes up and down, and I think it's a really fun mechanic. At the same time, part of the combat system is stamina. Obviously, you need to use stamina to swing your sword, to swing a hammer, but there's certain weapons like a club or a hammer or a mace that you can be hit with that have the potential of doing stamina damage, which is going to lower your stamina more. And if you run out of stamina, you pass out temporarily until you're brought back up by one of your teammates, or they use a potion on you, or something along those lines. Magic also uses stamina. So, when you're casting a spell, you're not just saying, I'm going to cast a spell and we're going to do it. You can manipulate your spell in a lot of different ways. So, if you have fire shaping, which is taking fire that already exists and shaping it into something else, you can change that and manipulate it in different ways. Maybe you want to take a campfire and shoot it across the room and light a guy's clothes on fire. Well, that's going to increase the stamina difficulty, what's called the stamina draw on your character, and you'll be rolling against that. So if your draw for your spell is, say, 14, you need to make a 14 or better, and then it's only going to cost the stamina for the number of actions it takes to cast it. So if it takes 2 actions, it just takes a regular 2 stamina. But, and this is a big but, especially for magic, if you go out and cast a spell way above something you can do, or just completely flub your stamina roll, it's going to draw a lot more stamina from you. So you might say, well, I'm going to make 3 fireballs out of the air, and they're just going to do 3d6 damage, and I'm going to shoot them off at 3 different targets. And the DM says, okay, well, I'm looking at all these modifiers here. That's going to be a 24 you need to hit on 2 dice. And you'll say, I can do that. Please, 24. I'll boost it a little bit here with some other abilities. And yeah, I can hit it totally. And then you miss it. You get 12. So you're going to lose 12 stamina out of around anywhere from 12 to 18, depending on how you designed your character. So your character is going to be drained. Now this stamina is going to come back, and it comes back 2 stamina per turn. 1 stamina, you goofball, what are you talking about? Characters regenerate 1 stamina a turn. But there's also an action called Take a Breath that you can take, which costs no stamina and lets you regain 2 stamina immediately. And you can take that multiple times per turn, which you have 3 actions a turn that you're usually spending it on. So it can get drained pretty quickly if you're not careful, and there's a lot of abilities that are going to draw on that stamina faster. Moving on to the art. I myself am not an artist. I come from a family of artists. My mom runs an art gallery. My grandmother's been doing art for years. I do not share this talent. I can write some very pretty poetic junk and things like that, and I actually work pretty well in 3D with models. I've got the Goof Custom back there. I used to do Warhammer 40k and still do some War Machine and Hordes on the side where you get to customize little models, and I've worked with clay a little bit and I do pretty well in 3D, but making that thing flat on a piece of paper doesn't work in my brain so well. So I have recently come across an artist, and I really was hoping to find a local artist that I could sit down and blurt out all of this crazy ideas and designs that I had, but I wasn't able to do that. But online is an amazing resource. The internet is an amazing resource, and you got to use it, and you got to connect to people with it. And I recently connected with Lapis.Lepur. He's an artist that I found online that was recommended to me by I believe it's the Fort Worth area Dungeons & Dragons player. I can double check that. Look at the little adorable stumpy boy. Oh my god. look at his little stumpy legs, his stumpy hands, and that face is fantastic. This is exactly what I had in mind when I brought it to Lapis.Lepur. I mean, he brought it to life exactly like I wanted to, and there is some variation. Different breeds of trees, they're created from stumps, so different breeds of trees will give you different body types for them. Some are thinner and more willowy, willow trees, and crepe myrtles and things like that. But some of them are big chunky boys like this. So they're a magically created race of stumps that were created by a very dark and vengeful god long ago in the beginning of the world to punish the other races of the world because he was jealous. And in doing so, they were his first creation, and he made the mistake of giving them free will, which he did not make with his other more heinous creations. But the mandrakes themselves have free will, and you as a player can choose whatever path you want for them. Some of them still do his dark bidding. They'll go and terrorize towns and eat crops and different animals and things like that, but a lot of them have moved into society and try and integrate themselves and copy a lot of the things that that the other races do in society, like wear armor, and they have a few unique traits. They can actually grow themselves a little bit like the trees and plants that they mimic, but it's only temporary. They have a base form that they always eventually regenerate to. Then, at the same time, we've got another race that he's drawn up for me, one that I told him was going to be a challenge, and we had to do a few revisions of it to get it to exactly what I was hoping for. It's a race completely out of my own brain box that I really wanted to make. I wanted a race that was, well, they're torn between logic and nature. So in their nature, in their most ancient stories back far before anything was written down, they have a story where they gave up their nature for logic so that they could come up with new solutions because their race was dying out. But they took all of their nature, all of their bestial instincts, and forced them into one of their race, kind of like a sacrifice. But he became more of a demigod, a beast god, and he still roves around to this day, and they fight against their own natures constantly in favor of logic and things like that. So we've got the Basque. I was blown away by his art right here. Like, this is spot on, exactly what I was looking for. Oh my gosh, I got so lucky coming across his artwork. Like, this is exactly what I needed. So he's already tackled the one I was most worried about trying to get onto paper, because I had the hardest time drawing anything that even looked like what I wanted to say, and he just freaking nailed it. So that's two of the races today, and all of the artwork for the book and everything is being funded out of my own pocket, you know, hopefully to be published down the line, but for the time being, I'm doing all of this myself, you know, paying straight to Lapis.Lepur to get this done, and he's doing it's worth every penny. But if you'd like to contribute, if you like what I'm doing, and if you're interested in seeing the project continue, you can always drop some cash on the Patreon. I'm working on getting a Discord set up so we can talk about the game more, and just generally have a good time. So if you want to do that, it's completely up to you, not obligated in any way, but, you know, it always helps, and I would greatly appreciate it. So that's going to be it for today's video. Just kind of a little brief introduction to Mirava. Next week, we're actually going to have a different video that is going to talk about different unique RPG systems that I hope to play someday. So after that, once we get some more artwork coming in from Lapis.Lepur, we can throw some more of that up, and we'll have another video out that is more about the races of the world and world building and Mirava itself. So look forward to that one. If you liked the video, like, share, and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you. Bye. So, and he has come out with